Hey, good evening, everyone. My glasses on. Welcome. We're going to say the pledge and we're going to start for our first meeting of 2025. And we also want to welcome our new trustee, Pat Yost. Okay.
Trustee Fritchie,
Present.
Trustee White,
Present.
Trustee Yost,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Lopez,
Not yet. Trustee. Present.
Trustee. Okay,
No appointments yet.
okay.
We got to keep the people on the edge of their seat.
Mayor Levin,
Present.
God forbid.
Are we doing the seating arrangement this way, Bob? But you're going to move the,
like my.
you like the corner. Okay.
Okay,
And you guys are the same. Welcome.
so we have a little,
Camera doesn't get me.
Oh, okay.
so you have your mayoral announcements. Mayor?
Okay. Did you want to say
Oh,
something, Dana?
yeah, I just wanted to start out by thinking about California. What's happening in Southern California is devastating to everybody. I am from that area. My sister lived there for years. I spent a lot of time in that neck of the woods, and it's gone. Suddenly, seemingly like in an instant. And it's shocking, and I can't even watch it anymore. And so I also just think it shows how our first responders are so essential and important. But when Mother Nature is doing this, it's hard to fight it. And anyway, thoughts and prayers for Southern California.
Thank you. And hopefully your sister also,
Well, she doesn't live there anymore, but her house that she
Oh.
owned is gone.
oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's really a reminder of environmental changes as well. I was just in California for a mayor's conference, and I was saying to Trustee White that, Malibu was actually, the housing there, there was a lot of fires there too. It's a beautiful, beautiful state. But the environmental issues are sort of severe there. All sorts of environmental issues. Although it is a state that really does concern itself with the environment and laws and process and all of the stuff that I think many states follow. Are there any other trustee announcements? Okay, so I'll say a couple. First of all, welcome back everyone after the holidays. You do see Pat Yost, who's been a member of our community for 3 decades.
Yep.
Okay. Third decade, and was part of our new board. Manuel Casada has left, and you all voted for Pat Yost, and we're happy to have him. And my first time on the job, I was very nervous, actually. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask the deputy mayor. And I welcome all my colleagues. The inauguration went beautifully. Thank you to everybody on staff for working on the first of the year, for participating. It was a lovely ceremony. And then my first duty is, because of the year that I run, was to go over and swear in 3 new chiefs, which I wrote in my newsletter about how our very large volunteer fire department and how they choose their leadership group and all that goes with that. It's the largest volunteer fire department in the state. And so we're excited. You will be hearing more about changes that are going on, and really changes for the better, both in capital investments and other items related to our fire department. So I think that's going to be pretty exciting. Not going to repeat everything that went out in the mayor's message about some of our focus for 2025. We're just going to get into the meeting, because these are usually long meetings with all the appointments, and we're going to have executive session after that, so it'll be a relatively long evening. So we're going to get started.
Mayor Mayoral appointments.
Okay. So these are the mayoral appointments. Did you want me to send this to you afterwards? Or
Yes,
are you
please.
writing them down?
I'm
or-
going to write them down, but just to make sure we're on 100%.
Okay. So the mayoral appointments, the deputy mayor, we welcome for one more term, one more year, Deputy Mayor Omar Lopez, now official. And we, are very grateful for the work that you've done as my deputy. We, do try to rotate this, but after some conversations with other members on the board, we are appointing, or I'm appointing, you, sir, so thank you. Village historian will once again be Joyce Sherrod Cole. Chair of the Board of Ethics is Claude Tusk. We thank Mr. Tusk for all of the work they've done. And yes, while they did their presentation, they mentioned that it was a very slow year for the Board of Ethics. That's very good news. Civilian Police and Complaint Review Board. I'm sorry, I'm doing the liaisons. Are you supposed to announce this, or should I just go through the
No,
list?
go ahead.
Okay, because it says B, but
Yeah.
I guess I can just go through it. Okay. Civilian Police and Complaint Review Board is Deputy Mayor Omar Lopez. Environmental Advisory Council, once again, Trustee Dana White. Thank you, Dana, for all that group has been doing. I believe you're also looking for people for that group. They're short. We will talk about that at the end of this. Landlord-tenant Relation Council is Trustee Patrick Yost.
Historical
I?
preservation. Yeah.
Somebody should tell me to put my glasses on. That might be helpful. Okay, I skipped. Historic Preservation Commission, Trustee Dana White.
Okay.
Looking forward to that committee. And Landlord-Tenant Relations Council, Trustee Patrick Yost. After some conversation with Trustee Pritchie, we're not going to have a liaison. It's simply not necessary for the Mid-Hudson Ambulance District. Austin Fire Department, not really a requirement. The chiefs actually report to the board in its entirety, but Trustee Bob Fritchie has wanted to once again step up just to be the liaison. So we are having him continue to do his fine job with that. Placemaking Committee, Trustee Dana White. I'm expecting lots of great stuff this year, as we did on finding that group, creating it, developing it, and growing with it. Police Reform Advisory is Deputy Mayor Omar Lopez. Did I skip something
Yeah,
there?
Youth Council, Mayor.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it I'll get it, just.
Okay.
I got the list. It's on here, but later.
Okay.
And there's a reason for it. Police Reform Advisory is Deputy Mayor Omar Lopez. Deputy Mayor Lopez is really going to be the liaison to our two committees to do with police, and you'll see there's a theme to it as I go through later. We will not be having a liaison to Sing Sing Prison Museum. That is a standalone, a 501c with its own board, its own missions, and so it's not applicable to, so we're not going to have a liaison this year. There's a liaison for DPW site that was only important at the time that we developed. That site is a big project. That's no longer necessary, so no liaison to that. Zoning and planning will both be Trustee Bob Fritchie. The Youth Advisory Board, I think that's the one that needs two of us, right? So it's Mayor Rika Levin and Trustee Pat Yost for that one. Bob was on it before, but we've switched a couple of things around. And the Ossining Youth Council is also Pat Yost. So there's a reason why I left it towards the end. I also am creating a new one, the Ossining 250 committee. And I'll be, while that's not a municipal volunteer group, I'm going to be a liaison to that. For the next 2 years, we are going to have. That is the committee that is done by the state level, then the county. Our historian is already involved with it on the state level, and that is to prepare events and just a lot of fun to celebrate the nation's 250th anniversary. We had a preliminary meeting, the town supervisor, myself, Karen Diatori, historian, I think that was it, just to sort of say, what are we even thinking about? And so we're going to just create this as an official committee with a liaison so that there's space for it. So you may need to do something on the website with that as well, Jamie. What else do you need from me? I think I
some-
covered them, right? Okay.
Okay, meeting, annual resolutions. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining will hold regular meetings of the village board as set forth in the schedule below for the year 2025 at 7:30 PM at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, Ossining, New York, 10562, and via Zoom. And again, the list is posted on the bulletin board in the, outside the clerk's office and is also on the webpage. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Board of Trustees meeting schedule and work sessions. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining will hold work sessions of the Board of Trustees as set forth in the schedule below for the year 2025 at 7:30 PM at the Municipal Building, first floor conference room, 16 Croton Avenue, Ossining, New York, 10562, and via Zoom. And again, the list of the meetings will be on the clerk's bulletin board and also on the webpage. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
The official newspaper, the Gazette. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby designates the Gazette as the official newspaper of the Village of Ossining for 2025 and the Journal News as necessary. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mileage allowance 2025. Resolved that whenever it is appropriate to compensate village officials and/or village employees for mileage, such officials and/or employees shall be reimbursed at the 2025 rate of 70 cents per mile to be paid upon claim voucher after audit and approval in accordance with IRS standards. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Retaining bond counsel. Resolved that upon recommendation of the village treasurer, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby retains the firm of Oric, Harrington, and Sutcliffe LLP, 666 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10103, to serve as the bond counsel effective immediately in accordance with the letter correspondence dated December 20th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions, comments? If somebody, Stuart or Sue or Karen, if there are any changes, whether it's these guys or any other banks, if there are any changes from last year, if somebody could just point that out, or
Yep.
Dale, just appreciate it. If it's what we've done in the past, then
Right.
that makes it, I think, easier.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ossining, Village of Ossining financial goals and policies. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves and adopt the following financial goals and policies of the Village of Ossining. The financial goals is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 pages long. It's posted on the bulletin board in the clerk's office and also on the webpage. And Treasurer Brennan, is there any changes that you would like to point out, or are they very similar?
Good evening, Clerk, Mayor, and Board. There are no changes to the finance goals. We still strive to achieve all those goals every year, and we will do so again in 2025. The only other finance resolution that has a slight change is for the investment policy, where I raised the deposit limit for Chase Bank. It was previously $10 million. I did raise it to 15 for this year in order to diversify where we're holding our debt borrow amounts. So they're not keeping all our eggs in one basket. But that's the only other change.
And Dale, Tompkins is no longer in Ossining. Was that taken into consideration, or you're okay with that?
We still hold a couple of accounts with them, even though the closest branch is actually now over in Terrytown.
Oh, Tarrytown, okay.
Yes, as well as, although it's not village, the town court does as well. So, we do like to diversify and keep things in different banks. So that's okay, but it's not really one of our higher, working banks, like Chase or Webster is.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we're on the adoption of the investment policy. Finance adoption of the investment policy. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves and adopts the following investment policy of the Village of Ossining, subject to approval of Corporation Council. And that's the one where the treasurer did give you the change. Again, all of the verbiage is on the bulletin board in the clerk's office and on the webpage. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions? Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Resolved, finance, debt management policy. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby adopts the debt management policy as follows. Again, I'll ask the treasurer if there's no changes in the policy at all. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions?
All in
No.
favor?
Aye.
And all of this information is on the bulletin board in the clerk's office and on the webpage. Finance, adoption of procurement policy. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby adopt the following procurement policy, which is intended to apply to all goods and services which are not required by law to be publicly bid. There's no changes to that policy either. Is there, treasurer? Okay. So do I have again, all of these numbers and everything is on the webpage and on the bulletin board. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions?
All in favor?
Aye.
Finance, adoption of expense reimbursement policy for village employees and public officers other than elected officers. Resolved that the Village of Ossining hereby adopt the following expense reimbursement policy for the village employees and public officers other than elected officials. Again, no changes from last year? Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions? Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Reappointment of Deputy Village Clerk Janet Ginisaka. Resolved that the Village of Ossining Board of Trustees hereby reappoints Janet Ginisaka to Deputy Village Clerk for a term in the office beginning January 1, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments or questions?
All in favor?
Aye.
Just like to point out, she's fantastic. Personnel Management Benefit Plan. Resolved that in accordance with past practice, the Village of Ossining shall continue to provide benefits to elected officials, managers, and appointed personnel as follows. And again, that whole management plan is on the webpage. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, do I have a motion to close the reorganization, the organizational meeting?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now we're going to start the regular meeting and mayor and trustees announcements.
We did that, I think. Right?
Okay.
Unless somebody forgot something. Anything going on this weekend that the public needs to know about? We're good?
No.
Okay.
And you did all your appointments, so we're good.
Yep.
Administrative reports, village manager Karen Dottori.
Evening, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Clark. So we've just gone through a lot. We're just starting the year, but I do want to announce a couple of things. Our message board, our electronic message board has now been installed in front of 16 Croton Avenue and will soon be operational. Our staff, Jamie Hoffman, and Sophia Marquez are going through training to be able to communicate. And we're looking forward to another opportunity to communicate with the public and make sure everybody knows what's going on.
Sorry, who's the second person?
Sophia Marquez
Okay.
in APW. And I would like to thank Trustee Fritchie for his stewardship in making sure this got done. And we're very happy. In the spring, when it gets a little warmer, we'll be working on the facade of or I guess there'll be some re-landscaping around the flag and the message board that will make it look even better. So we're looking forward to that once it gets warmer. A lot of the projects that we've been talking about for several years now are coming to fruition. So at the end of January, we will be going out to bid for the multimodal transportation hub, also known as the parking structure on the Brandworth lot. Next week, our design engineers from Creighton Manning will be here to discuss the final plans for the Route 9 road diet. And in probably most likely the first work session in February, we will be hearing from our consultants from DCEAK Architecture, who will be showing us preliminary concepts for the redesign of the community center. So things are going ahead as planned, so far pretty much on schedule. And 2025, we're going to start to see some action on a lot of these projects. So very exciting year ahead.
I'll get a bell this year, cowbell. Because I am not feeling like the excitement here without it, but we'll have to, because I know we're going to have to ring it many times this year. I'm really.
I am very
excited.
excited, by the way. I just
Yes.
want to
No, I
explore
mean,
how
for
excited
real.
we all are.
I couldn't tell.
For real, but we're going to have to get some musical instrument that we have to use. Sue.
Oh, thank you. Corporation Counsel Stuart Kahan.
And now Corporation Counsel.
Oh, we didn't know that you carry that
Nice.
with you.
I got it. I got
Like,
everything.
I'm sort of
Nice.
curious as to why you carry it with you, but I
got it
like
all. Don't worry about
it.
Okay, with that, tonight's agenda, we do have a cabaret license, which is for the Osney Elks. The clerk's office, police, building, and my office have been very busy with refreshment license applications, cabaret applications. We got a lot more in today, some of which will come before the board next week at work session. But we've gotten a very good response with regard to the refreshment licenses, because we've essentially told the businesses that if you didn't have your license by January 1st, you do not have a license. And suddenly people started sending licenses in and applications very quickly, but we still have a few stragglers. And the police are aware of who those folks are, and we all are. So we will deal with them accordingly in terms of violations of village code. Tonight's agenda also seeks authorization for the village manager to sign a number of continuing agreements that the village has for computer service technology, for the engineering consultant firm, the KSCJ, with the SPCA of Westchester, with IFCA for, I believe it's for 6 months, and with Nelson Pope, the folks who serve as our consulting, our planning consultants. Additionally, we tonight have a resolution for the adoption of Local Law 1 of 2025, which actually was discussed last year with the board. That is a technical revision to Chapter 270 relating the zoning code relating to the PO, which is the Professional Office Zoning District. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Police Chief Aaron Zimmerman.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Kick off 2025 in the police department. Not really much new to report so far, but I'd like to congratulate Stanley Scarduzio for 6 years of service to the Ossining Fire Department. Stepping down now is going to be Deputy Chief. Congratulations to Joseph Rinaldi, former Ossining police officer, taking the role as second assistant. Tony Martinez as first assistant, and taking the helm as the chief engineer. I look forward to working with them all. collaboration between the police department and the fire department. Thanks, Pat, for joining the team. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun. Long hours and but from the police side, colder weather, please keep an eye on pets and outside. Make sure you have snow tires in the inclement weather, because there's nothing worse than chasing down accidents off the side of the road. Necessarily so mindful of that in the inclement weather. Forward to a good 25.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Organizational announcements. Announcements shall be event-related only and shall last no longer than 2 minutes in length. Is there anyone in our virtual world? Please raise your virtual hand. Nobody. Okay, public comment on agenda items. Visitors are accorded a 4-minute opportunity to address the board on any resolutions on the agenda. If you are in our virtual world, please raise your virtual hand. Moving on to visitor recognition. Visitors are accorded a 3-minute opportunity to address the board on issues and not relating to the agenda, but relevance to the common good of the village. Again, if you're on our virtual world, please raise your virtual hand. Moving on to the village board resolutions. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the December 18th, 2024 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstaining?
Pat Yost, I think, is abstaining.
Approval of voucher detail report, January 8th, 2024. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated January 8th, 2024 in the amount of $12,733,216 and the all-important 38 cents. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I see you smiling. I see it. You want to tell us? I mean, I think some of us know, but for the public record, why it's so much money.
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you. For the first meeting of the year, voucher detail report, we do include our annual blanket purchase orders for the full fiscal year of 2025. So this covers the village being able to pay for our medical bills, our dental bills, our workers' comp invoices, including claims and TPA fees, and also life insurance bills throughout the year, not having to then wait for the every 2-week or sometimes 3-week turnaround in order to make sure we're not falling behind in our payments. So for that $12,733,216.38, Sue, thank you. $9,355,158 is actually just pre-approving funds to be paid in anticipation as we draw down on these purchase orders throughout the year. If at the end of the year, when we're closing out our fiscal year, which is in March, right before the audit, if there are funds still available on these blanket purchase orders, we liquidate the balance that's left, and it reverts back and flows back into the expenditure line. And ultimately at year end, if our revenues exceed our expenses, the positive balance will then flow into our fund balance. But this just allows the village to move efficiently through the year to make sure our claims are paid and everybody doesn't get into any obstacles, that something hasn't been paid and now they can't move forward. So thank you for that. Also in our regular voucher detail amount of the $3,378,058, and there's a 38 cents. So we are paying for the full year of 2025 our insurance policies. which equated to about $884,000 to again make sure the village is covered for the fiscal year of 2025 for our insurance plan for liability, all that good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. We're in the middle of a vote.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If I could take a minute, Sue.
Yeah.
There are some macro announcements I probably should have made, but honestly, because I always think about Ossining, and I sometimes forget sort of the larger outside issues. So let me first say that President Jimmy Carter's passing was a monumental loss, although I must say that he and his wife lived a long and amazingly productive lives with great examples, I think, to all of us on how one lives one's life from beginning to the end. And I think that's something that everybody in the country and around the world does recognize. And sometimes, especially when the winter hits the Northeast, we forget about the rest of the country because we're bundling up. So that's one thing. I also did want to mention that Ossening's very own Richard Wishney, there's actually a park named after him, which is what reminded me earlier today about it, was appointed and sworn in as deputy county executive. Very proud of him. He did a lot of work for Ossining. He and his wife moved out recently, but they're very involved in a number of nonprofits here. Children's Center being one of them, but he was also county legislator. He was a fire department and very involved with responders. And so very proud of him. He will continue the term. When county executive Ken Jenkins sworn in also as our county executive, it's always sort of interesting. Local electeds do not report to the county. The county doesn't report into the state. They run their own police. They have their own parks that they manage. We manage our own, but there's still a very strong relationship. But especially when it's one of our own community members, super proud of them as well. So wanted to thank you, Chief, also mentioning the fire chiefs, which are part of our community, and how that all works. So I think I covered some of the more macro. There is a piece out there that I've gotten, and I'm sure others have too, with the change in the federal government. Our former county executive is going to be sworn in as a, I guess, first term, and not in our district. It's a congressional district south of us. Our congressman is Congressman Lawler. But again, proud of, maybe I should call him, he's still local, and George Latimer was very, very good to Ossining, to its people, to its Democratic Party, but really to everybody in the community. On the federal level, something that will most likely affect us, and a number of us have been in conversation with some of the community leaders on this. There may or may not be changes in immigration policies coming from the federal level that affect policing, that affect mandates, et cetera. The truth is, none have been assigned yet. Nothing has actually been done. But for those that pay attention to issues regarding immigration, that is something that the board is involved in. There are a number of municipalities and mayors and supervisors that are looking into how each municipality, police departments, electeds, et cetera, nonprofit partners can work together through issues relating to immigration and the immigrant population that most of Westchester has as part of its ongoing communities. I just wanted to put it out there. There will be more on that topic in future meetings as well. So those are some of the macro issues that affect us here in our little village that comes from outside our village. And just wanted to sort of bring that for the record, and we can move forward. Thank you, Sue.
All right. Resolution approving 2025 cabaret license for the Ossining Elks Lodge number 1486 118 Croton Avenue, Ossining, New York. Resolved that pursuant with the code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves a cabaret license for, for 2025 for the Ossining Elks Lodge number 1486, where soft drinks, wine, beer, and other alcoholic beverages will be served as follows. day and nights, Tuesday through to Thursday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'm just going to ask Chief, as we do with every applicant, are there any issues on behalf of the police department that should be brought forward?
Nope. Elks
Okay.
are all good.
Just,
Thank
I
you.
have one question, Stuart. The license, is that supposed to cover just the inside the establishment, or, because I know they do outside in the parking lot? So does that cover that also?
The application is only for the cabaret inside. So that's because that's what their application is. They gave the seating diagram. There's no indication of anything that they're doing outside. They would,
I don't know if they're still doing the parking lot stuff. That was COVID mainly.
Well,
No,
it
it
was more
was-
than COVID.
They did it last year.
Thursdays,
Did?
they still
Oh.
did
Yep.
the Oregon thing. I never thought about that, so I'm sure somebody on staff can just call them
We'll,
or maybe the
we'll
clerk's
invest,
office.
we'll investigate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's not in there, they're only being approved, as Stuart just said, for the inside, because they're not,
Okay.
so.
I don't have a problem with it. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
it's stated that,
Yeah, I'm not hearing that you do. I think you're just trying to clarify, because
Yes.
whatever we do for one, we have to do for everybody.
Right.
correct.
So we can't pick and choose who gets what, so that would not be fair. So let's just check into that. Thank you.
Yeah, otherwise, I'm in favor of what it
But they'd have
is.
to reapply in a different way, I think.
But can this be an addendum, Stuart?
we'd have to sit, we've never had an application for, because the idea of the cabaret, it's an interior place. We've never had a cabaret that is actually outside. So
Yeah.
it's sort of, it's almost like a parklet, but on their own property, sort of. So
Most of our
we'd have to think
establishments
about-
don't have parking areas where they then give up the valuable parking spots to do. It's the other way around. They're always looking for parking.
But we have other establishments that have music outside.
Yes.
The boathouse,
boathouse.
They have a parking. They're under a different,
But they have outdoor
fee.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
we'll
we
look
should
into that and
it.
we'll report back to the board
Yeah.
as to what we find.
Good point.
So this will be an amended resolution. So, Deputy Mayor Lopez and Trustee White has moved. Do I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Agreement with A1 Computer Services, where resolved that the following the review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign a new service level agreement with A1 for the term January 1, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments? Those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Sid.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Extension of agreement with KSCJ Consulting, formerly known as Killard Sessions. Resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign documents necessary to extend the village's April 1, 2021 agreement with KSCJ Consulting, formerly known as Keller Sessions Consulting Engineers and Landscape Architect Planning, EPC, 500 Main Street, Armonk, New York, 10504, through September 30th, 2025. And be it further resolved that the April 1st, 2021 agreement will remain in full force and effect except for the fee schedule, which as of January 1st, 2025 will be the 2025 KSCJ Consulting Billing Rates Schedule for escrow and non-escrow matters. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'm just going to ask during a question point, can we also go through this and discuss any changes from last year on all these contracts and stuff, whether there's been an increase? We did in the budget, I think, right? When we did the budget, but if we could put it into the record, that would be helpful. If you don't have it, that's fine.
Well, the change here would be simply the fee schedule with regard to KSCJ.
Right.
It's the 2025.
A1 was a 5%.
A1 was a 5%
Okay, great.
increase.
That in though.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agreement with SPCA of Westchester, Inc. Resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign the agreement with SPCA of Westchester, Inc., 590 North State Road, Briarcliff Manor, New York, for a term January 1, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, whereby the SPCA will provide care and shelter for homeless and stray dogs and cats and shall humanely care for animals brought to the SPCA by animal control officers, police, and other agents. Do I have a, and I will tell you that it is the same exact price as last year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's almost the same price, but we don't need to go through it. The fees are a little bit different.
Slight
I've
different on
I've
the
asked
TNO
questions.
fees.
The other
What?
reason I've asked questions,
Oh.
so the fees are a little bit different. So it's a little bit, there is no scenario in any contracts that we're discussing tonight where anyone has lowered their costs of doing business. I'm just gonna, it's either stayed the same or it's gone up. I'm more interested in what it's gone up. I will say for the public record that I like the SPCA. I personally give to the SPCA. My husband personally volunteers. What I am not happy about as a mayor is that municipalities, neighboring municipalities, some of whom are some of the most affluent zip codes in the country, do not have contracts the way we do with SPCA. And since the dogs and cats don't know the borders between our communities, it makes me wonder if we're also taking care, not that I object to it, but from a financial point of view for our neighbors who do not have contracts. So I started looking into it. I don't think it's fair that the folks who live in this community, in essence, maybe, I don't know for sure, maybe subsidizing surrounding communities who do not have contracts with, because I really do feel that it is simply not rational that we're the only ones that have issues with our cats and all this, while the communities around us simply do not take care of that situation. So a big fan of the organization, not a big fan of our surrounding communities, and wondering if there is a more fair and equitable way, especially given that the communities that border us are some of the most affluent, will afford a contract like we pay for it, because everything we pay for is not the five of us. We represent the entire community who have to pay through tax. So that's just my own public comment. And I don't have a solution, but I do want to put it out there that I don't care that we're such a burden, that others feel they don't have to. So there may be a better way to do this going forward.
Well, I just have one question for the chief. Chief? I'm over here. Is there any ACO on the horizon? Or possibility of an ACO?
Possibility, yes. I don't think we have anyone that is currently eligible to be hired as an ACO.
Okay, just asking.
Want to tell us what an
Thank
ACL
you.
is?
ACO is an animal control officer.
Not you. Oh, you did? Okay. I'll let you ask the questions then. I'm sort of thinking, with a new trustee, maybe we shouldn't use, and for the public who look this stuff up later, and use the acronyms. I didn't know
Yeah,
you knew that.
you.
Okay.
It's unfortunately, it's one of the civilian positions that we've been having trouble filling.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just to point out that the town does have a contract with the,
You know, I don't think of the town as Briarcliff and
Right.
Croton, like
Right.
some of those. I got a list earlier today and yesterday from Stuart Kahan. I was curious and I was surprised. Thank
our
you.
next agenda item is a local law number 1 for 2025. So this will be a roll call vote. Adoption of local law number 1 to 2025, the local law amending chapter 270 zoning section 270-17C E-O professional office district conditional uses for the Village of Austin Code. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin has been considering the adoption of a proposed local law 2024 entitled Local Law Amending Chapter 270 Zoning Section 270-17C E-O professional office district conditional uses for the Village of Austin Code, and whereas a public hearing was conducted on December 18th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. at the Birdsall Fagan Court Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Austin, New York, and via Zoom platform, affording the members of the public the opportunity to be heard, and whereas the public hearing was closed on December 18th, 2024. And whereas there was no impediments for approving the proposed local law, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby adopts local law 1, 2025, a local law amending chapter 270 zoning, section 270-17C, PO Professional Office District, conditional uses, and of the Village of Austin Code, and be it further resolved that local law 2025 shall become in effect upon filing with the Secretary of State pursuant with municipal home rule law. Do I have a motion? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell.
Second.
Any
I'm sorry,
questions or
who-
comments?
Who moved that?
I did.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, roll call vote. Trustee Fritchie,
Aye.
trustee White,
Aye.
trustee Yotes. Okay, Deputy Mayor Lopez
Aye.
and Mayor Levin.
Aye.
Chapter 270 zoning PO oh no, that's the, oh my God. Authorizing an agreement with Nelson Pope and Vorez LLC. Whereas since 2023, the village has provided with professional planning services by Nelson Pope and Vorez NPV, 156 Route 59, Suffern, New York. And whereas the village's current agreement with NPV expired on December 31st, 2024, oh, I didn't even have to read that. Resolved that upon review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign the agreement for interim professional planning services with Nelson Pope Voorhees LLC for a 2-year term, January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
No changes here?
Just their fee schedule, Mayor.
Okay. Sue?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry about that.
If I could also just sort of insert here, Karen, did you want to now, or maybe at a different meeting, talk about the policy you instituted when you started the first year, that we look at these sort of bigger contracts every 3 years? You want to put on the record now, or do you want to wait for another? Okay. So the public has a sense
A
of what
few
we're doing.
years back, we decided that we would issue on a rotating schedule RFPs for professional services every 3 years. There may be some exceptions to that for various reasons, but typically all of our consultants basically serve 3-year terms, and we typically, and again sometimes there is a little bit of variable in this, but we do try to have an RFP every 3 years for all of our professional services.
Thank you.
Okay, intermunicipal agreement, engineering and related services. Whereas on February 17th, 2023, the Village of Ossining and the Town of Ossining entered into an intermunicipal agreement for engineering and related services, and whereas the terms of and conditions of the February 17th, 2023 agreement will continue for a renewed term, with the exception of Schedule B compensation shall be replaced by the new Schedule B, providing the following. For and in consideration of services to be rendered to the town of Ossining as set forth in Schedule A hereto, the town of Ossining agrees to pay the village of Ossining an annual sum of $113,122 and the all-important 6 cents for the calendar year 2025 to be paid a prorated basis of monthly installments of $9,426.84 due on the first day of each month, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign the extension of the intermunicipal agreement for engineering and related services for the term January 1, 2025 to December 31st, 2005. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
All in favor?
Aye.
Extension of agreement with IFCA Housing Network. Resolved that upon review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to extend the Village of Ossining Affordable Housing Program agreement with IFCA Housing Network, 138 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, pursuant with the terms set out in the September 12th, 2022 proposal through June 30th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I think you might want to just explain why it's 6 months, why it's a little bit different than what we usually do.
We are in the process of reviewing the affordable housing program that was established in 2006 or 8 now. I'm 2006. This program has been run very successfully, and I think it's important to note that the Village of Ossining was one of the first municipalities in Westchester County to adopt affordable set-aside program, where under this policy, 10% of all new development of 6 units or more is dedicated as affordable housing at 80% area median income or less. For the period of time, we have worked with IFCA Housing Network, and we did have a specific, there was a specific pool of money that was designated a fund for this. That fund is now run out, and we are looking at the program. There are some changes. It's been in effect for close to 20 years now. And there are some modifications we're looking at and financing opportunities that would give some benefits to landlords to take more of the onus on themselves to do some of this work. But also, we do want to make sure that we're still auditing and making sure that they're in compliance. So we will be coming to the board within the next few months with a recommendation for the affordable housing policy. However, during that time, we want to make sure we can continue our current policy, which does involve not only the marketing of new units that come online, but also the reauthorization every year of people who are currently in the program that IFCA's currently doing. So we have extended their contract 6 months to make sure that we can do that. We will be meeting with them, talking to them, and assessing how they'll be involved in the future as well.
It would be, I think, possibly a good idea. They're also headquartered here in Ossining, for them to do a presentation to the board of some sort once you work through details. Certainly any board member that wants to be involved in the conversation should let Karen know as well. But especially with a new director, I've not yet met, but would like to. It might be nice for all of us to sort of get reacquainted with IFCA. Trustee White reminded me that we used to have a liaison IFCA, but at some point we realized, when they need us, they come to the manager's office. We work through, not everything needs a whole lot of protocol, but I think it's probably a good time right now to be patient, learn, see faces, see who they are, and what they're doing and what their new mission might be and goals. And we're doing a lot of housing, so it's probably a good time.
The new director just started this December. We have met with him once, and we'll be following up with him specifically on the affordable housing program. But I think that's an excellent idea, and I'm sure they've already inquired about how that could work with the board. So I think that's something also we will dovetail with this presentation.
Great.
We all in favor? Can't
We're in the
remember.
middle of, I don't know if we're in the middle of a vote. I think I actually
Let's just, for this, be better safe than sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Authorization to sign incentive proposal from Empire State Development for Mid-Hudson Momentum Fund Award. Whereas by correspondence dated December 18th, 2024, the village manager received notification from the Empire State Development that ESD, that's the Empire State Development, is offering the village incentives valued up to $10 million for the construction of the new Indian Brook Water Treatment Plant as part of the Mid-Hudson Momentum Fund Program. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the village manager authorized to sign and return the incentive proposal from the Empire State Development. Do I have a motion?
So I moved.
Second?
Karen, if we can get a 1-minute explanation and make sure people don't think we just got a check for $10 million, but what it is and what it obligates the village to do or not do.
Correct. So the earlier this year, we were awarded a $10 million grant, and these grants are never come in the form of cash up front. They are all drawdown. You have to provide receipts that you've expended the funds in order to be reimbursed the funds. This particular grant was for the construction of the new Indian Brook water treatment plant, which, as you all know, is probably our largest and most expensive project, coming in at a little bit more than $100 million. It is also our most vital and necessary project in the sense that this is establishing clean water for decades to come, and was necessary and planned for a significant amount of time. So we have worked hard to get as much funding as we can to offset the burden that the new plant places on the water ratepayers in the village and town of Ossining. This grant is part of a new grant funding stream through ESD, the Mid-Hudson Momentum Fund. We were in the first round and were able to obtain this. It is based, though, on a commitment for housing development and development overall. So money is given to infrastructure projects, which are essential for existing and new development. And in this case, we have committed to basically provide housing and details. I think it's 300 units over the next 6 years, with a strong portion of them being affordable. Right now, just so the board knows, and the public as well, basically all of that housing is in the pipeline already, and was before we started this grant process. In 2025, we're breaking ground on 280 units of all affordable housing. And over the next 6 years, I think we will definitely make up the difference, given the things that are in the pipeline, some of our smaller multifamilies and things like that, as well as some larger projects that may emerge over the next 6 years. But again, important infrastructure project that was competitive based on doing development, which we had already committed to.
Okay, we're in the middle of a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, is there any continuing business of the board? Oh, sorry.
I think I said 280, I meant 180
You know what? I was
units.
thinking, where is that
I-
other?
I added
the
an extra
109.
100, but 180, but again, we will
The
still be
senior-
making up the
the
total
senior.
300.
No, the senior piece plus the 109 is
That's-
what she,
It's one,
that's it.
it's 100, like a little over 180.
Right. Right
Sorry
now.
about that. A little ambitious.
Is there any continuing business of the board? Or any new business of the board? Might I get a motion to adjourn into executive session for?
Matters of personnel, matters of litigation.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, happily, I was wrong. I thought this was going to take a long time, but I think between the budget meetings that I think were really excellent and the staff preparing everything in advance, sending it out, we got through this 1 hour.
We need Dale at every meeting.
Yes, it must be Dale.
It
Well,
has to be Dale.
we just trust everything she says. We don't. No, I think the budget meetings were excellent this year. They were very thorough, and that's a lot of this is about finance. So I think it's great. Thank you, folks. Next Wednesday is our regular meeting at 16 Croton, and we look forward to that as well. And we are adjourned at 8:35.